Welcome to another Home Inspector M.D. video. Today, we're going to talk about what is in a typical home inspection report, how it is structured, and its navigation. Presented here in this video, we will walk through an example report. Now, to be clear, this is a fictitious report with issues randomly inserted and used as a practice report. The first thing you will see is a custom cover with details on who it is for, who inspected the house, and a photo of the house. Opening the report, you will see our thank you letter and then the invoice. This outlines what inspections were performed, how much they cost, and any other ancillary costs, such as travel fees, if the location is far away. The next part is the agreement section between the client and the home inspector. We highly encourage everyone to read this as it has important information on what the home inspector does and does not do in a home inspection. This agreement has to be signed and confirmed so the inspection can go forward. And next up, we have the summary. The entire report may list many concerns, but the summary highlights priority issues found from the inspection. These include safety-related issues or issues that may cause significant problems in the house. It's a quick look at what should be your priorities. Now we come to the meat of the report. The report follows a similar pattern to the actual inspection. On top are your tabs, listing each system of the house that we inspected in order. We looked at the roof, then the exterior and garage, as well as the structure. We then went inside and looked at the utilities, such as electrical, heating, and cooling. The rest are related to the interior of the house, such as insulation, plumbing, walls, stairs, windows, and floors. Each of the tabs are links, so you're never lost. You can jump to any system you want. You don't have to look up some table of contents to find a page. Within each system, we follow the same format: description, limitations, and observations. The description of each system provides useful specifications about that system. They can be useful when looking for replacement parts, renovating, or providing a service person additional information about the utilities that they are going to service. Limitations describe what can limit the ability of an inspector to visually inspect a system, and an overview of what they inspect and do not inspect. These limitations are what the home inspectors follow in the Canadian Standards of Practice guidelines. Finally, observations and recommendations are the focus of the report. Here we outline any issues we found relating to that system in the house. This is a concise description along with any implication or effects it has on the house and or people. We then provide our recommendation and priority status. For the roof, we describe the type of roof material used and its relative condition. There can be limitations on the roof inspection, such as, did they walk or not walk on the roof and why? Was the roof too steep or too high? The next part is what you're interested in, and that's the observations and recommendations section. This is the part where we discuss potential issues. Our example here is the chimney roof flashing. This is a common issue for older houses. We describe the condition and then the implication of that condition to the house and people. That provides context to the issue. We provide at least one photo to show the condition, and if it warrants it, an illustration of that condition. The photos will always point to the problem with a short caption. Then we provide possible recommendations and tasks on how to handle the condition. As we turn the page, we see more conditions of the roof with photos and more illustrations. We move on to the exterior, and as you can see, the current tab is always highlighted to show you where you are in the report. The description part details information on the materials used around the house. Our focus on the exterior is how well does water shed away from the house. That's because it's one of the most important conditions in determining how dry your basement will be. And then for limitations, we list what parts are not included as part of the standard home inspection, such as recreation facilities. Basically, parts that are not physically attached to the house. Again, we have our observations and recommendations for the exterior part of the house. And here is a great example of an illustration that complements the photo. The condition here is a downspout that exits too close to the side of the house. And the illustration clearly shows its possible effect on the house and also the correct installation. Now for the rest of the exterior, we're just going to scroll through these pages. Structure is next, and it's the most difficult because most of the structure is simply hidden from view. We describe the configuration of the house, foundation material, type of roof framing, and floor construction if possible. Our examples here are conditions such as weak connections or support and issues with the roof rafters and fire damage. When it comes to structure, issues should be taken seriously with recommendations that would require further evaluation by a professional engineer or contractor. In electrical, our description section will provide you with details on the electrical panels in the house. What is the service size, the brand of panel, the type of wiring, and the number of circuits available? This is helpful to know when renovating or adding additional circuits. According to the standard of practice, inspectors do not have to remove the electrical panel cover, but everybody does it anyways. Where many do stop is the removal of the main breaker barrier. You can barely see it, but it's the part here. As a reminder, the inspector does not cite specific electrical codes in the report. This is not a code inspection, but issues in the report can be related to KA code. When it comes to electrical, the observations are focused on the safety of people in the house and fire prevention. You can't have knockouts missing or have the wrong brand of breaker in the panel, shown here with a Siemens and GE breaker together. Here are nice examples of illustrations complementing the photos on issues. Especially with electrical, you gotta have people looking at photos and saying, what am I seeing? So it really does help in conveying a message. As standard procedure, inspectors will test a representative number of receptacles for proper operation. Here, we have an indication of no ground wire and no ground fault protection where it should be. Moving on to the heating section, here we provide details on the type of heating system in the house and the source of energy. The report provides details on the manufacturer, model, and serial number of the unit and date of manufacture. Knowing if the equipment is near the standard time for end of life is important to know. That's because you don't want to be surprised with a large replacement cost shortly after you move in. The specifications can also be very important if you need to call an HVAC technician for a problem. Providing them with the model number and manufacturer can help them before they even visit. Even though a short startup test is done, how efficient the system is overall cannot be completely ascertained. Not to mention, most of the duct system will not be visible. In our demo observation, we have some common problems here, such as missing or dirty filters, physical damage, and poor airflow. After heating, we look at cooling. Now, similar to heating, we note the specifications on the unit for future reference, and to check if the unit is near the standard time for end of life. One of the limitations of cooling inspections is that we cannot turn on and inspect the running AC unit if the outside temperature is too cold. Running the compressor in cold temperatures may damage the unit, so it's possible that this is not done during some winter inspections. With air conditioning, we are focused on the condenser unit outside for some of the common problems. Proper location, operation, condition of the refrigerant lines, electrical, and damage to the unit. Over here, we do have an example of a dirty coil inside the furnace, but most of the time, access to the evaporator coil is not possible. The next section is called insulation and ventilation. The focus of the description is to tell the client what type of insulation is used in the house. Is there enough insulation in the attic? Does it come close to current Canadian standards? The biggest limitation in many homes is that you're just not going to see the insulation except in the attic. Unfinished basements will give you a clue, but many basements these days are finished. Here we have typical examples of insulation levels in the attic and some quality issues with the ventilation. Next, we have plumbing, and most of the description part is focused on describing your water heater specifications, with yet again comparing it to a typical life expectancy. Other specifications center on the type of gas pipes, water supply, and drainage pipes. Standard in all reports is the location of the main water shutoff valve. So with all the specifications here in one report, it becomes a nice database of all your house systems. Here, the inspection methods and limitations highlight the fact that the home inspector only uses normal day-to-day operating controls, such as a faucet. They do not operate valves or test plumbing system controls that are rarely used, such as the main shutoff valve. The reason is simple. These controls can be stuck and can be damaged upon use, and we don't want that. Home inspectors will inspect the bathrooms and kitchens for proper drainage and water flow. Seen here, we have a common issue relating to traps. For example, the problem with double trapping. The final system in our report is the interior. Here we describe the materials used for the floor, walls, and ceiling. When it comes to the interior, our major limitation is visual access. For example, carpets hide problems, large furnitures, and storage hides parts of the walls and floors. A fresh coat of paint can hide wall issues. We look at a representative number of windows and doors for their operation. Proper standards are also important for safety reasons. Our examples shown here have common safety issues related to fallen hazards. Most inspectors will enter a room and examine the room's walls, floors, and ceiling the same way, visually searching for issues in a clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. So that is our 9 major systems in the home that are inspected and reported on. The next page is a simple site information page detailing the house specifications. And this next section is called Our Advice. This section provides general information that can be helpful to the maintenance of the house. The last part of the report is the infrared section. After the standard inspection of the house is completed, the interior of the house is inspected using an infrared camera. What does an infrared thermal inspection do? It shows aspects of the house that humans cannot visually see. The camera shows a color gradient that represents the temperature change that all objects emit as infrared radiation. The extremes of temperatures are represented by bright yellow color to dark purple color. With an infrared camera, we are looking for moisture, energy efficiency, and electrical issues. Here we show areas of the house that show anomalies. In these examples, areas of cold intrusion into the house can affect the efficiency of the house. When it comes to electrical, we can see the temperature range of an entire panel. We can see if a breaker or wire is overheating. Finally, the dark anomalies can show moisture problems. To be clear, the camera does not actually show moisture. Since moisture on a wall or ceiling cools the material, the camera would display it as a cool area. The use of a moisture meter will confirm if there is a water problem. At the end, we include a reference library. This library is an online home maintenance tool that has tons of useful information, great for first-time home buyers. Just click on the section you want and it will take you to the PDF file. That concludes our look at a typical home inspection report. If you like this video, subscribe and give us a thumbs up. And think about us in your next home inspection. Looking for other videos like this one? Check out these videos. Cheers.